Welcome today, guys. Everybody, right hand in the air, wave, say, hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
A little personal affirmation. Take your right hand, put it on the back of your left shoulder, pat yourself on the back, and say, congratulations, I showed up. Because showing up is the first step to success, right? So keep patting yourself. Now, left hand in the air, say, hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Left hand on the back of your right shoulder, give yourself a big hug, and say, I am awesome. Now turn to somebody within your reach, give them a high five, and say, I am ready to grow. And here's how we're going to grow today. We're going to cover endurance and resiliency. Of course, Stillman's going to get us up and active with his easy anytime exercises as usual. Very vegetarian segment today. We've got a special treat for you guys to try. I know we had the food fair going on as well. I hope you got to enjoy that. We've got a little vegetarian comfort food that's going to blow your mind. And we're also going to cover how the body is an amazing programmable piece of technology. So let's get started. The motivational quote for today is an old Yiddish proverb. I love it because I'm really into sailing. And it says you can't change the wind, but you can adjust your sails. So my tangible takeaway from this quote is to simply focus on what we can control. It's so easy to get caught up in life with all these outside influences, let them stress us out and get overwhelmed. But just simplify our lives, focus on what we can control. Guys, we've been together now for 18 weeks, and I really feel like you guys are becoming kind of part of my family. I've shared a lot of great information with you. Hope it's really made a difference in your lives in some form or fashion. And I wanted to share a little bit more about me today. You know, you see me as the fitness guy and the nutrition guy and all, and I really wanted to share a little more personal side of me. I've lived all my life in Richmond, Virginia. The last 3 years I moved down here to Florida, so I'm about to celebrate my 3-year anniversary as a Floridian. And I've definitely been through some drastic changes, some just tremendous adversity in my life prior to moving here to Florida. And I'm glad I went through that because I wouldn't be standing here in front of you right now had I not. I was a realtor and contractor for 10 years. And I really enjoyed that business. It was good, the money was good, I was very successful. I worked about a decade to build 2 successful businesses, real estate and contracting. And that was a third of my life when I think about it that I devoted to those 2 businesses. And even when times were great and the money was great, there was still something missing. I did not quite feel fulfilled in my life. So to compensate for that, I spoiled myself with some toys. I worked hard, I figured I earned them. So I had a speedboat, I had a beach house. That was my American Ferrari, I called it. It was an 03 Mustang Cobra. Love that car to death. Yeah. So these toys were great and all, but I still felt unfulfilled. And I'll tell you when I felt most fulfilled was when I was helping people. I've been coaching people for 17 years as a passion, as a hobby. So talking health with people, that really got me excited, and also helping people with relationships. I think my whole coaching started, I had a lot of female friends that always came to me whenever they had relationship issues from a male perspective and point of view. And then they became inquisitive about my diet and weight loss and all that, and that's the evolution. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I was mentored by some great people who are in the room right here today. I think I got most of my passion from my real estate business by really seeing the look on somebody's face when I handed them the keys to their first house. Or when I could go in and help somebody create comfort in their house by renovating it the way that they wanted it. And I think that was really the driving force for me in those businesses. And then all of a sudden, I got in a fight, and I didn't realize I was in a fight. I got sucker punched, and I got hit hard. Got the rug yanked right out from underneath me when the economy changed. I created a small little empire for myself. I had about 11 full-time employees, about 30 to 40 subcontractors I worked with anytime, at any given time. And I was rolling. I was working hard. I was working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, and still finding time to get in the gym. So it was tough, and then all of a sudden it just came to a screeching halt. So I had some chips I had to cash in. First thing to go was the boat. Sold that, kept the business floating. Then the beach house went, sold that, keep the business floating. I'll never forget the last drive I took in that car. It was just an incredible experience. I mean, that car never got rained on. That's how much I loved it. But the car had to go. None of that bothered me as much as getting down to the point where I had to let employees go. I had 11 dedicated employees, and it really broke my heart. I had them working on my own personal house just to keep them busy until at which point in time I couldn't do that anymore. And it was tough. I'd hit the bottom, and I didn't understand what was going on. Nobody knew the gravity of what was about to unfold in the economy. I thought, man, I got to change my marketing. You marketing guys, I'm not doing something right. What's the deal? And it was very frustrating. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, during the midst of this, I was in a relationship with someone who was the love of my life at that time. And I don't know whether it was the stress that I was going through, or whether it was the financial side of it that was the problem, but she left me like a rat leaving a sinking ship. And oh my God, talk about tough. And that just detracted even more my focus away from the business where I should have been given a lot more effort at that time. So it was a heartbreaking experience, and I dealt with it internally through my own coaching. I found that I really had to practice what I preach and follow my own advice. That's how I know this information I'm giving you guys works, because it got me out of a very low place. I became just obsessed with working out. I was blowing off a lot of steam. I was in the gym 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I remember one situation where I didn't sleep for a couple of days. And I had a great workout. After the workout, I'm in the sauna. I always ended my workouts in the sauna, and all of a sudden things started closing in on me. I got tunnel vision, my ears started going wom, wom, wom. And I had the presence of mind to get out of the sauna and get into the shower, turn the cold water on, sat on the floor, and I let myself kind of regain consciousness, so to speak. Then I spent a little time laying down in the locker room, got dressed. The last thing I remember was walking out to my truck. I lived about 3.5 miles from the gym. Next thing I remember is waking up to my dogs barking, and I was laying in a pile in my kitchen floor, on the hardwood floor, all contorted. Somehow I managed to drive 3.5 miles home, have no recollection of it. Somehow I managed to get my truck in the garage without hitting anything. I lived in the middle of the city, had probably close to $50,000 worth of tools in my garage. I would not leave the garage door open for 5 minutes during the middle of the day. 4 o'clock in the morning, the garage door was wide open. So I'm freaking out. I don't know if I had a heart attack, panic attack, what happened to me. But I was wide awake the rest of the morning, my pulse was racing, and I made a decision right then and there that I was never going to let that happen to me again. I was never going to let the stress of work or relationship get the best of me. So I called on a very powerful person in my life. That was the only thing I could think to do. Like, how can I keep it together? I called on somebody who was very special, who I looked up to as long as I had known, who had made a major impact in my life, my health, and all my success. And this person just gave me the most powerful information, said everything I needed to say, helped me pull myself back together, pick myself up, dust me off. He made a special trip into Richmond to help me out, and that man is in the room right here, right now. And I literally attribute, Joe, you saved my life in so many ways. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here today.
Trust me, he was a mess.
So I've not always been this guy. On the outside, I've tried to play it, but on the inside, I've definitely had to deal with my internal one. But what Joe helped me do was to find my momentum to recover. And what Joe reminded me is, Sean, you did all this, you created all this once, you can do it again. And so I started to think, man, what would I do? Like, what would my passion have me do for a job? Where would I be? I started to explore all these questions, and I took it as my sign from the universe. This, all the economy change and everything, I just went ahead and apologized to the rest of the world. I said, sorry guys for the financial collapse and real estate bust. That's my fault, because that's the universe telling me that I'm not in the right place at the right time, doing the right things to the right people. Then my moment in the floor was the universe saying, hey, boom, you didn't get it yet, so change your life. So here I am today. I started the wheels in motion after that moment in the floor and the conversation with Joe, and within 6 months I moved here to Florida. And I can tell you right now, I'm in a relationship that far eclipses any I've ever had. I met the love of my life. I absolutely love what I do. I love talking to you guys. I love helping people find health, happiness, and success in their own lives, sharing my own stories in hopes that other people won't have those same problems. I really learned to start living my life as my license plate said. A good friend of mine said, Sean, you give great advice, but God, you need to follow your own more. My license plate said, "You live once," and that's how I try to live my life. Live every moment as if I should have died yesterday. So I now have this burgeoning new business to grow. I have a fantastic partnership with DME and Stillman here at the Bennett Fitness Center, and I'm so excited to be able to help Stillman out and help you guys out and celebrate the 1-year birthday party of the center here today. And it's just been a great thing. And what I've found is out of everything, the moral of that story I learned was that at the core of who you are, you can focus on who you are and your attitude and what you can do. So many times I see people just get so stressed out and ransacked by all these things outside of their control that you just got to reel it in and say, what can I do today to make myself better? Take responsibility. Successful people take responsibility for who they are, and they step up to the plate and they rebound. So the topic for today is the bounce. How to bounce. We all experience falls in our life from time to time, whether it's loss of a job or a loved one or a relationship. So we all fall sometimes, right? We played basketball last week. This week we're going to play tennis. So when we fall, what happens? We bounce a little bit, or depending on what we are, it might be an egg. It splatters, and that's, again, break into pieces. Now here's the interesting thing. If I drop this ball, see how high it bounces? Well, sometimes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Well, the harder they fall, the higher they bounce, right? So what happens in this bounce? The harder you fall, the higher you bounce. There's 4 parts to the fall, or to the bounce. There's the fall, there's the impact, and the impact is when you're at your lowest. That was my moment in the floor in that kitchen when I woke up at 4 a.m. not knowing what had happened. That was my impact. It just smashed me. And then along came the restoration. That was the phone call to Joe. He said, "No, keep it together, don't be an egg, be a ball, bounce." So when this ball hits the floor, you can't see it, but it mashes. And it causes it to spring back into action higher and higher. That's the restoration. And then the elevation. This is what really, truly defines who you are. And we all fall, we all have the impact, we all can restore, but how high are you going to bounce after that adversity? And I encourage you to look at your own life and your own situations and your own failures. Instead of looking at a failure as a fall, look at a failure, or a fall rather, as an opportunity to bounce back even higher. So Stillman, want to bounce us into some easy anytime exercises today?
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I can relate to a lot of what he just said because 13 years ago, we started in this section of this building. Who was around here 13 years ago? Okay, this was a truck company here. And we started a pilot study in this section of this building. And then after a period of time, we had about 1,000 square feet in here, then we went over to the other building. And then from there, we ended up in this whole building. So trying to take that in myself personally is overwhelming sometimes because I've fallen like a lot of us have. So the thing we have to look at, what he's talking about, is you have to get back up. And if you surround yourself with some good people like Joe, Yetta, Sean, some of your co-workers, that's going to help make it faster. So on my 30 years of journey in the fitness realm, I've watched a lot of people change their eating habits, want to make some serious adjustments with exercise, and then fall and lose motivation. Well, you have to be accountable to somebody. That helps with the motivation. So if you're looking at your life and you think you need to increase your exercise or be more diligent, partner up with somebody. That's going to probably be the easiest thing, have an accountability partner. Okay? So let's all stand. And we need to always have an attitude of gratitude, like what Sean was saying. All right, so I want everybody to stand up, get your feet shoulder width apart. All right, let's close our eyes and find your balance with the ball of your feet and your heels so it feels even. All right, so find that posture. Bend your knees slightly, throw your shoulders back, get your head neutral. Now let's just take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly out your mouth. Just pause for a moment of gratitude, because man, I'm so thankful. 1 year ago we started coming into this facility. And the goal is to have everybody on this complex more active. Maybe not in here because they may not like it, but more active in their life, in the changing in their eating habits. That's why Sean and I are working together. And Mike P's dream and desire is that also. That's why he believes in putting this whole building together for that purpose. All right, so now let's do our stomach vacuum. For those of you who forget, keep your eyes closed. We're going to inhale through our nose for 15 seconds. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath in first. Then we're going to exhale. Then we're going to visualize sucking our abdominal muscle, our abdominal belly button, and our abdominal muscles to our spine. And we're going to hold that for 15 seconds. And then we're just going to relax. And that's just basically called a stomach vacuum. All right, so everybody take a deep breath in through their nose. Exhale out their mouth. All right, suck your belly button to your spine, and we're going to hold it for 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Exhale and relax. Okay, so if everybody remembers the last few times we've done knee rolls, ankle rolls, leading up to lunges. So we've done forward lunges, and then we added with the arm movement. So today we're going to take it up to adding a backward lunge and then a backward step lunge. All right, so everybody watch. All right, we're going to skip the knee rolls. All right, in other words, the knee rolls were clockwise and counterclockwise, and then we loosened up the ankles. Everybody remembers that, right? So I'm not going to go over that. All right, what we're going to do is what you're going to feel comfortable with your arms wherever they are. You're going to take a backward lunge, okay? And you're going to lower yourself down to 4 seconds. Touch, 1, 2, then back up and bring your feet together. All right? Now, you want to stand up straight, so we don't want to lean forward. So when you step back, you want your head up, your shoulders back with posture. All right? That's step 1. All right? Does everybody understand what we're going to do? Yes? All right. So I'm going to turn sideways to help you. We're going to step back. Let's take our right leg. If you're going to participate, step your right leg back. Now inhale through your nose and lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch lightly. Come up. Now bring your right leg back up. All right? Same thing. Right leg back. Bend right knee. 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch. Up. Right leg back. All right, we're going to go left leg. We're going to do 2 on the left. Left leg back. Bend your knee. 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch. Up. Left leg up. So this is going to work on your lower body muscles, your butt, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your balance. Left leg back. Bend. 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it up. All right, now I'm going to show you facing this way. Now we're going to take it up to a little more balance. You're going to step back, twisting off on an angle. So think of the right leg's going back on a 45-degree angle. Now, once again, it's easy. The concept is easy, anywhere, any place type of exercise. So you could do this in a small little area. Let's say this was your desk, and this is your desk area. All right? And you want to step back, twist, and then up. So if you need balance, you can use your desk. You're still in a small little area. Okay? So let's try that if you feel comfortable with it. All right? So if you feel you need to hold on to something, you may want to use your chair or something like that. So you're going to take your right leg and step back at about a 45-degree angle. Lower, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch, 1, 2. Come up and bring it up. All right, we'll do it one more time with the right leg. Step back on a 45-degree angle, lower, 4, 3, 2, 1, up, and then bring it together. All right, we're going to go to the left leg. Left leg back on a 45-degree angle, 4, 3, 2, 1, touch, back up, bring it up. Left leg back. Back on a 45, 4, 3, 2, 1, touch, then up, and bring them together. All right. The variation of that is alternating. 1, 1. Okay? You're dancing, right. It's 4-2-4, rumba. Quick, slow, slow, quick. For those of you who remember that. All right? So you can have a seat. All right. So what we've done in review is we've gone through the forward lunge. Okay? We went through the lunge with your arms up. We went with the lunge with your arms off to the side. And now we added the back lunge. So that gives you a lot of different variations to work the lower body muscles. And as we recall, adding more muscle to your body is like adding more horsepower to your car engine. Everybody on that? Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Stolen. All right, guys. On a lighter note, I dropped a little bit of heaviness on you guys earlier. Thank you for letting me share that story, by the way. It's good to get it off my chest sometimes, too. Topic today is very vegetarian. So, funny little picture here. It's interesting when some of my friends see me comment and people I just meet, they're like, oh, all right, here comes the tree-hugging vegetarian guy telling me I gotta eat grass and lettuce all day. And that's just not the case. 17 years ago, I made a profound change in my life and went vegetarian because that's some really scary health issues that happened in my family very close to me. And I thought, you know what, if I can make a change that will prevent that, then I want to be able to say that I did everything possible. And when I went vegetarian 17 years ago, it was very unpopular. I mean, people looked at me like I had 3 heads. My mom didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to cook for me. But now it's really coming into vogue, and there's some really cool recipes out there. I know, April, you have a bunch of really good recipes, and so do you, Stacy. So we wanted to share a recipe with you today. Now, in Richmond, Virginia, there was a health food store called Elwood Thompson, which I absolutely love. It's kind of like Love's meets Whole Foods, somewhere in between. And they had this deli, and Yetta, how good is that deli?
It's awesome. You know, they just expanded. They just took over the whole next door store, so it's twice as big now.
So they have some incredible eats there, and one of my favorites was a vegan Carolina barbecue. You know, the first 21 years of my life, I was a meat and potatoes guy, and all of a sudden I'd jump into this vegetarian thing, and there was none of this comfort food back then. Now there's virtually substitutes for almost all of the comfort foods that we enjoy. So this Elwood Thompson makes this vegan Carolina barbecue, and I loved it so much. I mean, I was in there 2, 3, 4 times a week sometimes, and I would always get that. And when I moved down here, you know, I went to Love's, I was like, all right, this is great. And I went over to Whole Foods in Orlando, and neither one of them had it. So every time I go back to Richmond, I'd load up, I'd stock up with, you know, pounds of this, and I'd have them freeze it for me so I could transport it down here. And then we'd ration it out, you know, like it was the last food on the earth. So finally, I meet a former vegan chef living here in Daytona. Ironically, she's now moved to Virginia, but anyway, she introduced herself. She goes, I really pride myself on being able to replicate recipes. She goes, I can take something unhealthy and make it healthy. She said, I can, you know, taste a recipe and replicate it. I said, I've got something for you. Made a special trip up to Richmond, bought a couple pounds of the barbecue and some other stuff, brought it back, gave it to her. Yeah, I figured I'd hear from her in a couple days or a couple weeks later. She calls me the next morning. She's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm on my way over. So she comes over, she brings a Tupperware container of hers and then brings most of mine back, which was awesome. And we had a little taste test. And I'm telling you, she nailed it. So now I got the recipe for the vegan Carolina barbecue. I tried to get it out of Elwood Thompson. I'm going to tell on myself. I even was kind of dating one of the girls who worked in the deli and was trying to get the recipe. It's like a steel trap, man. They would not give it up. But now we got it. So we're going to bring a flavoring. I brought Joe up from North Carolina. So now we're going to bring some Carolina barbecue into the mix as well for you guys to sample. And we're going to have some of it later on today at the open house as well. So Leah, how are we doing on the barbecue?
We're almost there.
We're almost there. Awesome. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about vegetarianism. Raise your hand if you are a carnivore. Any carnivores in the room? Any meat eaters? Raise their hand. Joe, can you help me? Keep your hands up. Joe, can you help me count how many carnivores do you see?
I don't see it.
Well, all these people with their hands up. What's the deal? Hold on. Can we get another count? How many carnivores do I see? What about omnivores? How many omnivores? One omnivore. Any vegetarians or vegans? Yeah, there's my vegetarians and vegans. All right, I'm going to prove to you guys that we're all vegetarians by nature. Point number one, it starts right here in our mouth. When you look inside of our mouth, we have an alkaline saliva. Vegetarian, herbivore animals have vegetarian salivas. Carnivores like dogs and lions, they have an acidic saliva. Guess why? To kill the bacteria from rotting and decomposing flesh that they may eat. Also our teeth and the movement of our jaws. We have flat molars for grinding. We have jaws that move up and down, left and right. A dog's jaw, try to move it side to side on the bottom, and it ain't gonna happen. And dogs have incisor-like teeth for ripping that flesh. Second point, check out our hands. These wonderful dexterous, is that the word? Dexterous hands with opposable thumbs. Guess what these are for? How easy it is to pick an apple, polish it off, and eat it. Pick a grape, lettuce, all the fruits and vegetables. Now, what does a lion's paw look like, or a bear's claw? Claws, right? For grasping, for tearing flesh, ripping it apart. That's how a carnivorous animal is built. Number three, our digestive system. Very, very long and curvaceous. You know why? All this good, nutrient-dense food coming in. Our digestive system wants to extract and absorb all of that nutrition as much as possible and utilize it. And because fruits and vegetables don't rot and decompose the same way as meat, there's a lot less toxicity and byproducts of the digestion, so the body can afford to store these a little bit longer and then recycle the moisture out of them. Colon's main job is to filter that water back into our body. Now, a carnivorous animal like a lion, very short digestive tract from the entrance to the exit. Food goes in and it's expelled very quickly. So, digestive system is point number three. Point number four I want to make is instincts. Little experiment we could do. Who has kids in the room? Raise your hand. All right, imagine you took a child, say a 5-6-year-old child, and you put them in a situation, a playpen or a room or something. You put a pile of berries on the floor, and then a little soft, cuddly, cute little rabbit. What do you think's going to happen? Kid's gonna get hungry, he's gonna eat the berries, and if he can catch the rabbit, he's probably gonna want to pet the rabbit, right? All right. Experiment number two. Let's take a lion cub, put it in a room with some berries and a little rabbit. Come back a couple hours later, and you can imagine what's probably going to be in the room. There's gonna be a pile of untouched berries, and then a big mess. Another question for you guys, for the carnivores in the room. If you're walking along outside and you were to come across, let's say, a roadkill or a dead animal or something, would that be appealing to you? An animal laying there dead, Bill. Grill it up, right? Maybe if you're from the mountains, West Virginia. We like to pick on West Virginia and Virginia. But a carnivorous animal, that's attractive to them. Wow. Rotting flesh, dead animal, I can eat that. And by the way, anyone who thinks that human beings are at the top of the food chain, I beg to differ, and I would invite you to go swim in some shark-infested waters or paddle out with Bill Gallagher and use Smyrna one day, or to spend a night out in the wilderness with alligators and snakes and even mosquitoes. We're not at the top of the food chain when we like to think we are, and we have technology on our side, which helps out a little bit. Bug spray, guns, you name it, that helps. But in nature, we're not at the top of the food chain. And in reality, it's the decomposers that are at the top of the food chain. Because the decomposers are ultimately going to eat on all of us, whether we're vegetarians, carnivores, omnivores, and anything in between. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Those decomposers do their job, and we convert it right back into the soil and the earth. If anybody is entertaining the idea of vegetarianism, or you want to explore it, I basically started vegetarianism because I got some excellent mentoring and coaching from Joe here. Joe is literally devoted the last 45 years of his life to health and to coaching people. He had the opportunity to train with Paul Bragg back in 1968 in Hawaii. And Paul Bragg, Bragg's amino acids, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, he's credited with being the father of the modern health food store. So Joe grabbed me a long time ago and said, Sean, these health problems in your family, you know, the genes load the gun, don't pull the trigger. Remember that from last week? So Joe gave me some great advice. I had a really good friend of mine that I lifeguarded with, and this guy was literally Superman. Cross country, track and field runner, just all-American athlete, and he was incredible. I could not understand. Like, we all had to wake up each morning, 8 a.m. and do PT on the beach in Virginia Beach. Sometimes it would be 100 degrees in the morning when we got out there. Guys were throwing up, passing out. It was a bad experience. Oh no, not my friend John. He would wake up an extra hour, hour and a half earlier to go out there and do a warm-up 5-mile run on the soft sand to then turn around and kick all of our butts on the PT that everybody else dreaded. So I spent a rainy day on the lifeguard stand with him one day. I said, John, how do you do it? He said, I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to share it with people. I said, come on, man, I got an open mind. He said, I've been picked on all my life, and I'd rather keep it personal. So by the end of the day, I had finally wrangled this secret out of him. He was raised by hippie parents who were vegans. He'd never had meat or dairy his entire life. And I mean, this was years ago. This was 1993, 94. And he said, you know, I just don't like to talk about it because people don't understand, so I do my thing. And I really expressed a lot of interest because I'm getting this information from Joe. And so he made a challenge to me. He said, look, I challenge you to go 21 days, nothing but fruits and vegetables and water. And I did it along with Joe's coaching. And I tell you, I felt like $1 million. I went into it thinking, okay, you know, I'll try this out and see. You know, I told you guys a story, I think, in the past about how my mom would cook and I would pick all the green stuff out of the casseroles and put it on the plate. That was me. And all of a sudden, I'm eating nothing but green. I tell you, I felt so good. I made up my mind by the end of that 21 days, I was never going back. And I've been 100% vegetarian since, 80% vegan, and about 50-60% raw. And you know, I should have probably been bald years ago. My skin is so much better than it was in my youth. My energy level is high. And I started running on the beach with my friend John. I started waking up an extra hour early just by accident. You know, I woke up before the alarm went off rather than hitting the snooze button. And then I started getting to the front of the pack like him and, you know, outperforming all the other lifeguards. And it felt great. So I would invite you to explore some great books and movies. The China Study by Dr. T. Colin Campbell is one of my favorite books in the world. It's one of the most profound studies ever done on the human race. Talks about the correlation between meat and protein-based diets and disease. I mean, it's almost irrefutable evidence that they have in that book. Some good movies. Forks Over Knives is the movie version of the book I was just speaking of. Food Matters is another great one. Hungry for Change is another good one. So, you know, it's simple to the point. When you think of vegetarianism, when you eat an apple, or when you eat lettuce, like we got growing on our tower garden out there, you are eating a living food. And that living food translates life over into your body. Now, unless you're living out in the woods and killing your own prey or grabbing a live animal and eating it, that meat is dead when you eat it. As soon as an animal dies, it releases enzymes in the body that instantly begin the breakdown and conversion process of that body back to ashes, dust, dust. So you're eating essentially that dead animal. Boxed foods, processed foods, I mean, I don't even have time to get started on that. We've talked about the dangers of toxicity in industrialized food today. But think about it this way, just a simple analogy. When you eat a boxed food, that boxed food is ultimately going to put you in a box 6 feet under the ground. So when you eat living foods, more life, right? Let me hear you repeat that. When I eat living foods, more life. When I eat a boxed food, I'm going to end up in a box, right?
Right.
So don't get in the box. Remember the box head video from a couple weeks ago? I love that. Look, I'm here to tell you that if I can make the conversion, literally cold turkey the way I did, anybody can. Once again, I understand. I'm all about meeting people on their level. I understand you may not be ready to convert to vegetarianism, but just make it your goal maybe to implement a couple more fruits and vegetables in your diet each day. You know, maybe have a salad in place of a hamburger, you know, once a week. Just make small little changes that you're comfortable with. If you absolutely hate fruits and vegetables, or you can't find time to shop or prep and all that, there are some great alternatives out there. Yetta represents one of my favorite companies in the world called Juice Plus. I've mentioned it before to you guys, but for less than $1.50 a day, you can get the nutrients of 17 fruits and vegetables. So I know budget is a big issue for a lot of people these days. There are easy, affordable, very effective ways to get that nutrition. The interesting thing about the test that Joe does, it actually measures the effectiveness of your diet and of the supplements that you're taking. I mean, quite oftentimes we are eating the right things, but we may have something going on in our body to where our body is not able to process and assimilate. Maybe we lack some probiotics or beneficial bacteria in our gut, and we're not able to properly digest that food. So it's a great test to show if what you're eating is really working and giving you a good reserve and good protection. So the key, once again, is with thought, reprogramming the body. I mean, the mind controls everything we do, and the body is just big programmable machine. And when you get a computer, what happened if you bought a computer 5 years ago and you never connected it to the internet and you were constantly using that computer? Your software would be out of date, right? Wouldn't be able to update. And that's how Bill Gates has made billions, is constantly updating, learning, and rebooting and installing new software. So imagine if you had stopped learning 15, 20 years ago. You might not be able to send an email today or type a Word document or upload digital photos, and then you would essentially be out of touch with society. You wouldn't be able to communicate the same, and you wouldn't be very valuable in the workplace without those skills, would you? So it's a lifelong learning process. We're constantly changing the programming in our body. So we're programmed to think, oh, got to eat meat to get my protein. Not the case, and I'm living proof of it. 17 years I've been getting my protein from plants, and Stillman will attest. I do a pretty strong workout sometimes, don't I, Stillman? Personal best, as you would say. So we've got to change this mindset and look outside the box sometimes and discover things that will work well for us. We become what we are accustomed to. If the most challenging thing that you do on a daily basis physically is standing up from your desk to go to the bathroom, or getting out of bed and maybe doing a little bit of this to shampoo your hair, if that's the most difficult thing you do on a daily basis, guess what? Anytime you push yourself a little bit further than that, anytime you have to move some furniture, do something strenuous, putting yourself at risk for injury. You're going to fatigue a lot quicker. On the other hand, if you climb mountains or go out to Orlando with Stillman and Bill and I and climb rock walls for exercise, then everything else you do on a daily basis is going to seem so much easier, and you're going to be so much more energized. It's quite an anomaly there. You think when you work out, when you're burning all this energy, burning all these calories, you're going to be more tired and more lethargic and have less energy to do things. It's such the opposite reaction. When you're programming your body to be ready for exercise at any time, when your body knows it has to step up and perform, you're going to be able to handle your daily tasks so much easier and a lot less likely to be injured or fatigued. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Raise your hand and say, I can do these easy time, anywhere exercises on a daily basis. Can you do it? Say, I can.
I can.
Awesome. All right, so our tangible takeaways for today. Next time you have a setback, I want you to remember that bounce analogy. When you're going through that fall, hopefully maybe you'll be able to have a friend or something that can be a parachute, help you go a little bit further, or if you just get smacked hard unexpectedly, guess what? Take that impact, restore, and bounce back higher. Number 2, I want you to do your own research. And like I said, just consider going more plant-based in your diet. Keep a journal of what you eat. This is an interesting thing that I do with my coaching clients that Joe taught me. Keep a journal for a week of everything that goes in your mouth. And at the end of that week, read the journal, and you might be surprised. A lot of people are stunned. I mean, we're so programmed in what we eat that we forget sometimes. When you go back and read it, you say, wow. So just make little adjustments, make little changes, implement a little bit more fruits and vegetables or a good supplement into your diet. In closing, guys, I'd like for you to close your eyes. Just relax, uncross your legs, put your feet on the ground, take a deep breath. Take a moment to absorb the information you've received today. You've invested your most precious asset in yourself, and that is your time. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for putting yourself first for the last hour. Thank your mind for opening up and receiving new information. Thank your body for every breath you breathe, every heartbeat you pumped, and every eyelid that blinked. Thank the workforce of trillions of cells in your body right now that are partners in your life support system. Thank the universe for all the potential it has to offer you. And most importantly, thank you for being you. Open your eyes, please. Guys, knowledge is power, and I hope I've empowered you with some great knowledge today. Now, what you choose to do with this gift is up to you. Remember, insanity states that what? We're going to continue to do the same thing the same way and expect different results. But in here we say don't be insane. I truly believe that everyone has the power and potential to change any aspect of their life with one split second of positive thought, which shakes the foundation of your feelings, leads to different actions, which then lead to the results that you truly want in life. So when is the best time to change, guys?
Now.
And where should we start?
Here.
Right here. Let's close out with a little bit of energy today. Does everybody have their affirmations card? Little positive words? Let's stand up with passion and energy indicative of your willingness to be your best. All right, we're going to start out on the wealth side first. On 3 after me. 1, 2, 3. I am appreciative of time and every moment I am alive, especially now. I invest my time daily in my most valuable asset, me. I am grateful for everything in my life, whether it's a blessing or a challenge, tremendous or tiny. I am a motivated, self-starting doer who shuns procrastination and hesitation. I will use my experiences, whether good or bad, right or wrong, to evolve, learn, gain wisdom, and grow. Health side, please. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I may not be a doctor, but I'm earning a PhD and practicing health daily. I will underwrite my own insurance policy and do everything possible to maximize my life and protect my health. I will achieve wellness by creating balance in my life. I realize that my greatest wealth is in my health, and I strive to become wealthy every day. I am strong, beautiful, unique, energized, and passionate, and I'm getting healthier, happier, and more successful day by day. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and say, life is good. Life's good. Life's good, guys.